Thanks if you've been tracking with these vlogs. Just getting my cup of tea. As I've just been tracing some of the journey that we've gone on down here on the farm, and journey for me personally, which is known as complete deconstruction, a shaking to the very core of my faith as a Christian, and my understanding of God and whether He's in control or not. If you track the last blog, you'll be aware that in all the breakdown and shaking of stuff, one of the gems I've discovered and I continue to hold on to is inhabiting that place of peace and of rest. And this chair here, this little corner with pictures of family around and map of the world behind me, it's been one of the places where my to-do list was done at some ridiculous time, as most people were just starting work. I'd come and sit and be and just know the presence of God, or learn to discover the presence of God in that place of being. I'm a bit of an activist, that's my nature, and yet that's been one of the disciplines these last years, just to come to that place of rest. And I know if I continue to walk, if I've been really successful in business, if I was still in church leadership, I probably would never have discovered that this place of being, this place of abiding, this place of knowing that I'm fully loved for who I am, and it doesn't depend on achievement. And so this has been a good place to arrive at, a safe place. Even when everything else was shaking down, I discovered a safe place within that wasn't about seeking to go back to that which was familiar, but like with the ancient Celts, knowing what it means to carry home with us, to carry that sense of well-being with us on the journey. And so this has been just a rich rediscovery for me, and I'm so grateful for that. And in this place of peace, one of the things that we've begun to look at afresh, and one of the things we walked for and we declared as we walked, and we left behind our sources of income and took risks as a family and with many others too in the journey, was the declaration that we were not willing to be part of the commodification of or to allow our lives to be commodified, to allow our lives to beat to the drum of economics, that there was an alternative way to live that still meant that we could work and work hard. And these last years I've worked so hard, and yet also know a freedom in that to live in a different way and to a different rhythm. And Roger Mitchell, in his most excellent book, The Fall of the Church, Roger and Sue, two people I just esteem so highly, and I grappled with this book. He speaks about biopower, that is the commodification of people, where we just become chewed up and spat out by the system. And funnily enough, just a few minutes ago I was seeking to do this little vid clip, and my second daughter Laura rang me just to say that she'd just been given notice in her job, and so the continual challenge of keeping it together in the workplace and yet giving freedom to ourselves for creativity and experimentation in travel and so on and so forth is a constant tension for us all. And one of the books I treasure greatly is a book called Factory Girls, which is all about the eastern seaboard of China and how the girls of China, so many have grown up in that environment where in actual fact all they've been is fodder for the economic wheels, the global economic wheels. I remember when we walked through Egypt, standing on the Suez Canal and seeing the huge cargo ships pass through from China, destined for Europe. And one of the things I know about my beautiful adopted daughters, Jen and Jo, is that they would have been fodder for those factories. Had their lives shaped differently. And that's not to say that biopower isn't completely at work in our Western world. Of course it is. And as my second daughter, Laura, is facing now, the continued challenge is how do we chart our lives through and not come under that thing, that system, not sell out to it. And one of the little ways we've sought to hold through on that storyline down here on the farm is when I just knew I had to get out and earn some money, because we were just like so near to the edge of losing everything. And I began my little gardening business, just with the encouragement of my mate Dave Heron. I tried a bit of leafleting the first week or two, and then I just felt the Lord say to me, Steve, don't go down that road. Let me build this business for you. And so no advertising, it's word of mouth and connections, finger of God. Slowly built a little business, and I know it's just a tiny little story, but it's been so important to me to find a way through, as indeed in the walking years, of continuing that declaration that the flow from heaven is stronger. That's what we sought to declare in that Jeddah Gate, and that's why we took such a battering, really. But we sought to declare on the global trade routes that the flow from heaven is stronger than that which is up from the earth, that which is on the trade routes. And so we're still walking out that journey, really, as a little family, with still all our debt, and yet just slowly, just knowing the reality of that around our meal table and in the provision that we've discovered and continuing to discover. And the temptation to have it all tied down and sewn up, and I'm at an age now, 60, when you would imagine that most people would want that to be the case, and some days I feel, dear God, I'm just carrying so much responsibility with our girls, and yet I know that these are storylines I want to live for, and these are declarations I want to be able to make, that we don't have to come under that commodification thing, that there is a different way to live. And so that's really what I want to encourage you with. If you're out there and you're struggling in that whole work-life balance, and just wanting to find a way through, I just want to encourage you that in fact the flow from heaven is stronger, that there is a place of provision we can find, even if we're brought right to the edge in discovering just that. Back to my cup of tea.